Hello everyone, and thanks for stopping by my channel. I am Serge T. In this video I will be talking about NXT Battleground Las Vegas for the 9th of June 2024. And what did I think about Battleground? I actually enjoyed it. Some things I didn't. And I'm going to actually start off this video with that. Sexy Red opens the show. I don't know who the fuck she is. I don't even care. Because all she did, she was in the ring. Mike Rome introduces her. And all she does is proceeds to mumble. Couldn't understand what the fuck she said. And then she begins to twerk and grind on the ground. I'm like, no more of her. I mean, that shit was not necessary and doesn't belong in WWE. You know, and you're gonna see as I mention her throughout the thing, you know, the segments that she had, you're gonna see just how really just unnecessary she was here, because she didn't add anything to the show. Now, the ladder match to crown the inaugural NXT North American Champion. Sol Ruca, Jada Parker, Michin, Fallon Henley, Lash Legend, and Kalani Jordynne. I am actually familiar with all these ladies. Of course, Michin, she's been in WWE for some time. So has Lash Legend. At least I can say about her, and I'm not a fan of her, still not, but she has improved. And maybe it's just about a time that she ends up on the main roster. Because she does have charisma. She does have the ability to speak in promos and all that stuff. I mean, it's coming together, so I can't knock the girl. And to see what happens with her. Fallon Henley has really just changed her look, and I guess for the better. She doesn't want or need Josh Briggs and the other guy, those two dudes. She's talking about how they held her back, but she didn't say them specifically, but she said, you know, that she's been held back because she's been worrying about other people. Jada Parker, she's somewhat new. I mean, new to me anyways. I've seen her here and there. You know, Sol Ruca, she's amazing. She does that inverted flipping RKO type of move that she does, that cutter. It's impressive, you know, and you know, I just gotta say, you know, it is pretty damn, you know, very innovative, and it's very different. A very different take on the cutter, like the RKO. Now let's start. There's a match now, and right away the ladies go for the ladders, as Kalani Jordynne and Lash Legend go at it in the ring. And damn, a chance to take Booker out was evaded. You know, he was there. Vic Joseph told him to move. He didn't. He almost got wiped out when there was a spot there on the announce desk. And I would have loved for him to be replaced at that moment. Unfortunately, I had to deal with him and his mush mouth. Maybe him and Sexy Red are related or something like that, because you can't understand what the fuck any of them says. Either one of them says. Booker T, a little bit more. At least I can kind of make out what he says, but because a lot of it's just a bunch of nonsense that he talks, and the voice, the tone of his voice, and everything like that. But her, Sexy Red, I could not understand what the fuck she was saying. She was talking in that type of talk that they do, these rappers and all, how they talk, you know, the ebonics, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like they just don't form sentences that you can coherently understand, you know. And then we see this one spot. And I'm like, damn, Sol Ruca, she Germaned suplexed Michin, and she landed on her head. I'm thinking that she is a pro, and she knows how to land, but I think it was a little bit over land, performed, or what do you want to call that? She just overdid it, and she rotated too much, and you know, like, she did make through the match, and she did get through the match, so hopefully it doesn't cause anything. But oftentimes these guys know how to land, so it actually looks bad, but it's not. But you know, it's like, I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, I guess, you know, that's what's expected, you know. And this match, stuff like this is what you get. You're going to have spots like that. You're going to have people, because it's just all over the place and people are just getting their spots in, and sometimes going from one spot to another. They perform moves, and it's like sometimes you just got to go on the fly. And, you know, but absolute chaos, And then you see Lash Legend, she gets press slammed by all women. And as y'all know, man, there's always that ladder that goes from the apron to the announce desk, so something's going to happen. And what happened is that Lash Legend, she gets slammed onto that, not vertically with the ladder, but sideways. The ladder's like this, and she lands like this, kind of like in a cross position, right? The ladder's this way, she's this way. And she landed pretty hard, and it didn't look like it felt good, and she was knocked out pretty much for the rest of the match. And, I said that, initially I thought, I love that because, I'm not a fan of hers. I mean, it's just not. Doesn't mean I don't think that she's been putting in time and she's been at least trying. A lot of people like to call her Trash Legend. I used to call her Trash Legend, but, I haven't watched NXT for all this time. Maybe if I watch it, I doubt that I'm going to watch it. I just only watched this for Jordynne Grace. If I do, then maybe I'll see, and then maybe I'll be like, she still hasn't improved. But from what I saw, it's what it is, And, this match had a lot of high spots. It's a typical multi-person ladder match, shenanigans and all that. But I was generally entertained. And what a way to open the PLE and set the tone. But in the end, the lady to make history as the very first North American champion, the women's North American champion, and she becomes the inaugural women's North American champion. It is Kelani Jordynne. And it was so anticlimactic. Should have given it to Michin. Why? I mean, she was there at the end. It was her and Kelani Jordynne. But Michin has grinded. She has, and she's worked hard in her career here in WWE. You want a marquee name. You want a name that will carry that title and at least give it some what do you call it? Legitimacy in the beginning. That would have been Michin. But they gave it to Kelani Jordynne. She's an up-and-coming superstar in NXT, and we'll see what happens and how she goes from here. I like her. She's very pretty. She's very athletic. She does a lot of things in there that I'm impressed with. But, and then this next thing, the crowd chant, "You deserve it." But you guys gave her no reaction when she won. It's like, again, truly a crowd full of sheep. They chant because it's cool. I'm like, what the fuck? You're going to... This is why I'm saying that. People say, well, you always say that, Church T. Well, it's because this is the perfect thing. They didn't react for her. Maybe there's a spattering of applause. They didn't react to her. They didn't jump out their seats and practically fall out of the fucking, where they were sitting. And then they go, "You deserve it." Why does she deserve it? No reaction. Why does she deserve it? Why do you guys say that? I don't know her. I'm not familiar with her work. I've heard of her in my time when I would once in a while look at NXT and the news and whatever, and who's the superstars that are there now, and her name comes up, but they're giving it to her. I guess that's a good thing because it begins her career. She starts off on a high. So maybe this is what they're doing, is that they're going to give her a push. From here, she may go on to become the NXT Women's Champion. She might be the one to unseat Roxanne Perez, right? If Roxanne Perez prevails tonight. I haven't got to that yet. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So I guess congratulations to Kelani Jordynne. Like I said, she's very good in the ring. She's got a lot of upside to her. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, they challenged for the tag team championships that are held by Nathan Frazier and Axiom. When I used to watch NXT maybe a year ago, those guys were battling each other in a best of series. I believe that's what it was. And I guess they ended up as a tag team because they did respect each other. They did have some great matches one-on-one. And of course, Axiom, he's another guy from NXT UK. Used to be known as A Kid, not in a mask. And guys from Spain, the first Spanish-born, first WWE superstars, signed from Spain. From that's one of his accolades, was one of his recognitions that he has, and very very good. But I'm not surprised that they gave him this character because A Kid, it's not gonna go over. Axiom, it's like very interesting, very intriguing. It's gonna have people interested in his character, and so they do this, and of course they're defending against Gallows and Anderson, who are here just to make them look good and just to put the younger team, the younger guys over. They've had so many tag team titles. Do they need an NXT Championship? And like I said, they've won all kinds of tag team titles. They've won tag team titles on the main roster and in TNA and Japan and on New Japan. So, at one point I was thinking, okay, maybe they are going to take it. They're going to take it tonight. And did they? Well, in one point, we see an attempted magic killer. That Carl Anderson, I know they were going to, make it so that there could be a reversal by the tag team champions, right? But the way he did it, it was like, how the magic killer, and then they immediately dropped the person. Anderson had him and then flipped him up like this. I'm like going, that's so unnatural for that type of move. It should be the guy, right, that flips out of it, not the guy who's performing it, put him right away. But regardless, it ends up that Axiom turns that into a sleeper attempt. But then that wasn't enough, and we hear NXT chants, and all I said is, yes, you dopes, it's NXT, we got it. I didn't think I was watching WWE SummerSlam or WWE SmackDown. Every time someone says that stuff, I've always said that all my life. Whenever I hear a chant of where they're at, Raw, SmackDown, whatever, I'm like going, yes, we know. It's almost like, are you guys trying to remind me of what I'm watching? I don't know if that's ever made sense to me when they chant that. I get why they do it, but But we then see a Super Spanish fly by Axiom, and it's followed up by a Phoenix Splash by Nathan Fraser. And the champs retain the gold. And they should, because Gallows and Anderson have done everything that they could. Why do they need the tag team titles? Why do they need NXT Tag Team Championships? They should be used like they were used here. I'm not saying that they shouldn't get another title reign, because they're a great team, a legendary team in all of pro wrestling. They've been everywhere. Like I mentioned, New Japan, TNA. I'm sure other places too. But this is their position right now. This is their job to do right now. And that is to make the other guys look better, especially this young team of Nathan Fraser and Axiom. It was a pretty good, very competitive match. I liked it. I like how these two teams gelled. They really, really did, work off each other really well. So, you can't complain. I got no complaints so far. I mean, the ladder match was great with the women. They put it out there and they laid everything out there. And so far, so good. Now, tap or nap is all that matters as Shayna Baszler faces Lola Vice in an NXT underground match, which is perfect for these two because they come from MMA backgrounds. You got Shayna Baszler from UFC, and then you have Lola Vice from Bellator MMA. So they've been there, they've done that. They know what it's like to compete in a match like this. And here's the thing, though. They were showing a number of MMA luminaries, either retired fighters or current fighters. And why is it that it just happens when they show football players, when they show any celebrity? And I'm like, why is it that these celebs, the celebrities or whoever, are shown on camera and then they proceed to choke their seatmate, their family member, their friend? Like one of the guys who's a current competitor, he's like this, fake choking his daughter like this. I'm going, that's not what, it's like, that's not what wrestling's about. Oh, they choke each other, sure, it's an underhanded match, but how about you I don't know, pretend to lock up with somebody, or you stand up, you pick somebody up and pretend to slam them. I mean, it's like, that's what it is. It looks dumb when they do that. Like this, it looks ridiculous. And I probably look ridiculous doing that, but, you know. And think about this, man. It's like every time Booker talked, I just talked like him. You know, and I did this. You know, Vic, Vic. Oh, she got really good. You know, like this. I'm like going, what the fuck are you doing, Booker? And then he's talking like this. When he talks, he's like, oh man, you know, what are you doing, Booker? Are you talking to yourself? You're talking to us, and you're talking to the people who are watching. It's like, are you talking to Vic Joseph too? It's like, he has that low tone voice too. It's like listening to, it's like Shaquille O'Neal when he talks. It's almost like you're hearing a bee buzzing in your ear. You know? Yes, I complain about Booker a lot, but I ain't gonna stop. He's annoying. Why is he there? He was saying a lot of inane shit that I'm just like, oh, what did you just say, Booker? You know, like, I would be filling up my notes here of all the fucking inane shit that he said. It's just like, the only reason why I'm watching this is because of Jordynne Grace, and I'm not probably gonna watch this again because I can't stand listening to Booker's voice. He sucks as a damn commentator. I don't care what anybody says. You can't convince me otherwise. And the thing about it though is that there's those of you who are going to excuse him and accept him because of who he is. Like I said, that doesn't excuse him in his way of commentating and sounding. That is no excuse, period. You know? You guys should at least admit that he at times is awful. You might like what he does, but you gotta admit that voice of his is really, really just, that's his tone of voice, but it's just like, it really is grating. You know, every time he's there, they should have a chalkboard and someone should just be like this, scratching it the whole time he talks. That's what it is. That's how it affects me anyway. And as for this match, you know, it's like I stopped watching MMA for a reason. It's not my cup of tea. And this match was hard hitting, and these two women laid it out all. They laid it out all there. They laid it all out there. But in the end, Lola Vice KO'd Baszler from the 702 to the 305, as Vic Joseph says. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like Booker there, huh? I think how he talks and everything. I think it's contagious. I mean, I gotta go get a shot or something. But it's like, yeah, she KO'd Baszler. She didn't get knocked out, but she got knocked down, and then the referees just stopped the match. And she's like complaining, wondering what the fuck went on, what happened. But this makes Lola Vice look strong because she is still, you know, one of the up-and-coming rising stars in NXT. So Shayna Baszler, who's seen her better days, she's still great, but they're not gonna. Doesn't look like they're gonna book her to win anything anymore, any major thing, any major match, any major titles. So, what matters? You know, what doesn't matter anymore with Shayna Baszler. With Zoe Starks, she can't even win the tag team title 2 times now. 2 opportunities, and she failed along with Zoe Starks. So, what is the point? I like her. I think she's great, but it's just how they're booking her all the time. You know, you would think that when she leaves, you would look back and go, man, she had a great career. No, it's just like when Shayna does leave, when she retires or whatever, you'll be like, man, what a wasted opportunity. Yes, she's a 3-time NXT Women's Champion. Or is it 3-time or 2-time? But she's a multi-time Women's Champion in NXT. And then you think that she was going to bring that over to the what do you call it? To the main roster. She should have beat Liv for the title. I don't know why she didn't. She was set up. Remember when she did the Survivor Series, she won. She eliminated all 5 of her competitors. You're thinking, damn, she's going to be a world champion before you know it. Nope. She's losing here, losing there. When she wins a match, it really is nothing. She beat Ronda Rousey, but who cares? Nobody cares about Ronda Rousey now. So, what are they going to do with her? Is she right there with Natalya, who just puts people over now and doesn't win? I don't know. And let's go on to another Sexy Red. segment backstage. She greets the new North American champion, the new women's North American champion. And who cares about Sexy Red? All she is to me is a mumbling, twerking mess. She has Kalani Jordynne twerk with her, and then she has, what's the name of the backstage interviewer? And she wasn't into it, but she was like laughing kind of. And then Sexy Red is bouncing her butt up, bouncing the interviewer's butt up and down. I'm just like going, go away. It's like with Jericho, when it was Chris Jericho and his damn annoying segments on Dynamite. Go away. That was a good episode of Dynamite, and that's the only thing I didn't like. This was a great PLE. She's the one I didn't like. Who the hell is Sexy Red? You know? I don't know. And then the next match, speaking of the North American Championship, so our champion Oba Femi defends against Wes Lee and Joe Coffey, who Booker T calls a kid. This kid, Joe Big doesn't matter. This kid's going places. This kid. Yeah, Booker, he's 36 years old. Compared to you, he's a kid, but he's not a kid. 36 years old. I believe he's been wrestling since he was 15, so he's been in the industry for a long time, but he's not a kid. It's like when Carlos Colon, he wrestled for the Royal Rumble one time. And I believe he was 40 or something like that. And then Gorilla Monsoon called him this kid. I'm like, Gorilla, you're great. You're the best. You're one of the GOATs when it comes to this industry. But he wasn't a kid. way past that. He's way past his prime as a kid. He's not a kid no more. Now, Booker T. You're talking about Joe Coffey, and he says that, he's good to the last drop. Get it, folks? You know, like the slogan for Maxwell House Coffee. And then Booker had to repeat it again because it's another catchphrase that he can use. Like, really, Booker? We got it. It was kind of clever when you said it first, then you said it again. It's like, we don't care anymore. It's passing. At least he didn't say shucky ducky quack quack. So at least we had that. We were blessed with that omission of one of his annoying catchphrases. And it's just like, what a fool he is. Now let's go to this match, and after Coffey delivers a backbreaker to Wes Lee, his surgically repaired back, as mentioned by Vic Joseph, Booker said that, he's about to say it himself. He said, you took the words out of my mouth. And all I thought to myself is that I wish his voice would have been taken out of his mouth. Yes, folks, I'm going to bash Booker T a lot in this damn thing. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you listen to me and then you kind of go back and listen to Booker T and maybe you'll agree and go, yeah, I think Serge T is right. I still like Booker T, but I'm still going to listen to him, but I think he has a point there. You know. Because, folks, I'm going to say it like this. I don't do this stuff just to get myself riled up, get my damn stress level up and my high blood pressure and all that stuff up like this. Because if I could avoid it, I would, but it's kind of hard to when you're hearing old Mushmouth talk through the whole damn PLE. But let's move on to really what I took away from this match. That's Oba Femi, man. He is a beast. He's a powerhouse. And showing that type of ability, man, I saw him catch Wes Lee as Wes Lee performed a dive over the top rope. I'm like, that is some freakish strength. And then he slams him into Joe Coffey. And I came away from this match as a big Oba Femi fan. The dude is money as a future main roster dominator if booked right. And he wins this competitive match with a pop-up powerbomb. And I gotta tell you that his opponents, they didn't have a chance. I mean, they showed up, good for them. But in the end, Femi wasn't dropping that North American Championship. I mean, who is he going to face next? I might not know, I might not see. I'm a big fan, but I'm not going to be able to, unfortunately, watch him as he continues to progress because I'm not watching NXT. Like I said, repeating myself, I watched this because of Jordynne Grace. I wouldn't have watched it otherwise. And I'm a big fan of Roxanne Perez. That's why I'm very, very happy when she pops up on the main roster on Raw or even in the Royal Rumble. I'm like, there's my girl. There's somebody that I like to watch and I like to see perform. But other than that, it's like, she's has 2 reigns already. And I have not seen her win the championships both reigns. It's a shame. But, Now let's talk about this kind of this segment. Well, it's kind of like a introductory promo or vignette for the women that are involved in the women's NXT Women's Championship. You see, they're both proven in their battlegrounds. Of course, Roxanne Perez from NXT and then from TNA, what do you call it, Jordynne Grace, and their champions proven in their battlegrounds, and they're about to enter NXT Battleground. 2 world titles for Roxanne Perez and 3 for Jordynne Grace from TNA. And then we hear the TNA chants. And Grace can possibly make history and bring an NXT Championship back to her home turf in TNA. And it's so surreal to hear Mike Rome announce Grace as the TNA Women's Champion, the Knockouts Champion. It's definitely a new era, indeed. I mean, like I've said before, if you think that McMahon is still in charge, he wouldn't allow this. There's some people that go, well, he allowed Mickie James to this probably he probably had to pull his arm, and he's familiar with her. This wouldn't have happened with Vince McMahon. That was a one and done. He probably just said, okay, you guys keep pulling my arm. Okay, go ahead. Let's fight. Let's invite Mickie James. Now, as the match starts, a lockup, they do a collar elbow tie-up, and that proves futile for the much smaller Perez, as she's knocked down on her ass. Much like their encounter on NXT, where, Roxanne Perez, all that moxie, like a little pit bull, and she pushes Jordynne Grace, but then Jordynne Grace just pushes her. It doesn't even look like she gave her that full force or full power. And she just knocks Roxanne Perez on her ass. And then Perez slaps Grace as the Knockouts champ was on a roll. And this is all that Jordynne Grace needed to dominate and power down the NXT Women's Champ. But Perez does get back, this momentum back on her side, and then she works the left arm of Jordynne Grace. And the thing about it, though, is that was the only time, maybe some other instances, where she had her in an arm bar and stuff like that. But really, that wasn't a focal point anymore. It was just that point a couple other times. And you would think that that's what you would have done because, she used her power game. You disable one of her arms. She ain't going to be able to get, be able to do the Juggernaut Driver and other moves that she does, And then, I see blood coming from Jordynne. And I'm thinking, where is it coming from? And as the match progressed, I think it came from her ear. Maybe she has a busted eardrum. I don't know. Or maybe just a cut. But then in this match, even though we see that Roxanne is holding her own, she's using her in-ring talent and psychology to out-wrestle the Knockouts champ. If those of you out there who are not fans of hers, there's people that go that as a babyface she's bland, and then as a heel she looks like a little 6-year-old child or just a child throwing a tantrum. And I'm saying, folks, she's trying. And this is a way for her to kind of expand her character and to do something different. Because this is all about, what wrestling is all about is what's the word, but it's kind of reinventing yourself when things get kind of bland, like y'all are saying. When she's a babyface, she's too much of a, I'm happy to be in this place, I love it here, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to me and all that stuff, and people are going, knock it off already. So she probably sees the comments, like, oh, you know what, I'm going to switch it up and be a heel. And then people still complain. Are you guys satisfied, or you just want to complain all the time? Oh, I know you guys are calling me out. Well, Serge T, you're complaining about Booker T. Well, you know why? Because it's complainable, if that's a word. I'm not picking on him because I want to pick on them. It's there. It's in your face. Booker T ain't even trying to be better or change his way up or even just stop commentating. At least Roxanne Perez is doing something. She's changing it up, switching it up a little bit. There's a difference between those two. And then we see Jordynne Grace. She's able to attempt a Grace under pressure, but she misses. But then she's still able to pull off from the top rope. It's like a sit-out powerbomb maneuver. But this match ain't over. I feel, this match lived up to all the expectations. At least for me, because there will be some detractors. But for me, it was a phenomenal one-on-one title match. Roxanne is really smart in that ring and great at countering the offense of Jordynne Grace. She is a very, very good counter wrestler. She knows how to counter moves. She knows how to use a mistake by her opponent to her betterment, to her advantage, And I know that she's a great wrestler, but I didn't know she was this great. She really does belong in this ring. She was born for this ring, And this is the one person that when she says, I started training in wrestling and for this moment to go after the NXT Women's Championship. You know why? She's young enough to have been there when NXT started, when the NXT Women's Championship was introduced. I hate when you see these people who have been in this industry how long, and NXT didn't even exist when they started training. And they're going, I've been training for this moment to go after the NXT Women's Championship. Someone said that. I go, how is that possible when the NXT Women's Championship didn't exist? Maybe they mean that I trained all my life to get to this point, meaning going after a women's title. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense when you go, you've been training all your life to go after the NXT Women's Championship, and the Women's Championship didn't even exist when you started training. So how is that possible? With Roxanne Perez, she's 22 years old. She was 13 when she started. That's 9 years ago. NXT was still around then. I think it was about a year or so into its existence, and I think the NXT, she started training. So it's I honestly can say that she actually was training for that opportunity to go after the NXT Women's Championship. She made a couple of stops here and there. She was the inaugural ROH Women's championship before it got bought out by TK, Tony Khan and AEW, and now it's just a damn brand. It's not even a promotion anymore. But anyway, there's a point where Jordynne Grace actually delivers. She actually did deliver the Muscle Buster to Roxanne, but it's only good for a near fall. And then outside, Perez went for Pop Rocks. But then she decides, then she ends up connecting with a Hurricane Rana. And then we see Tatum Paxley. She's eyeing both championships outside the ring, and then she decides to take the Knockouts title. And then she's confronted by Ash by Elegance, who is the former Dana Brooke. And it surprised me, because even Vic Joseph mentioned her name now in NXT. I mean, in in TNA. That's where Dana Brooke is now. And then we see another crossover talent come to NXT. So I'm thinking they're doing this because I believe maybe Ash by Elegance, she's going to be the next challenger for the TNA Knockouts Championship, I guess. That's why they did that. One of these days, we're going to see Moose come over. He's the current, as the last I saw, when I watched it was about a couple months ago when I watched TNA last. He was the World Heavyweight Champion. So he may make an appearance one day. Maybe the next pay-per-view. We'll have to see. Wait and see. And Jordynne Grace, this happened, and she just takes her title belt back. And then she belts both Paxley and Ash by Elegance. And with her eye off the ball, it opens up Roxanne Perez. She sees the opening, and she reverses the Juggernaut Driver attempt. And she turns it into Pop Rocks, and she gets the victory and retains her Women's Championship. A very good match. I enjoyed it. I think it was, to me, the best match of the night. But of course, it's because you have Jordynne Grace in there. She brings the aura of her talent there. They think she's already built up an amazing career, and everybody sees her and they know that they're looking at greatness there. They're looking at someone who has an aura of just money. She brings that type of a feeling, like that you're going to be making money. Whoever uses her in their match, they're going to make money with that person. That's her. That's her. And these two really, really just came together and they worked really well off each other, like as if they've been competing over the years, and they're so used to each other and stuff like that. I wonder how it looked and what it was like. I like to have been in that room to see them work out the match and stuff like that and things like that. I mean, it's great. It goes to show that they're both naturals in that ring. And it doesn't matter if these guys they've never wrestled before. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's just so natural. It's just like as if, when we'd see, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, we see, Triple H and The Rock, or The Rock and Stone Cold, Mick Foley and Rock, like they've been wrestling so many times that when they get into the ring, it's just natural. It's smooth, So great on them. They really, really brought it. I think they tore the house down with that match. I think a lot of things came out of that, variables and things that popped up in there, and it's like, what's going on with Tatum Paxley? What's going on with Ash by Elegance? Is that like a crossover thing, baby? We're going to see somebody go over to TNA. I think they've been talking about possibility of WWE doing that and interfering with one of their matches there. We'll see. You mean doing that, the Booker T invitation, my throat is starting to get, I don't know. My voice is really starting to, I shouldn't have done that. But Booker T just annoys the fuck out of me. Now, Sexy Red is a waste of a host. She mumbled her way through a backstage interview. She's asking her something, and I think I heard her say she's going to run for president. I don't know what she was saying. And then, of course, what's her go-to when she has nothing to add? Oh, let's twerk. She twerks with Lola Vice. Man, I'm like, get this garbage out of here. I don't want to see that shit on my wrestling programming. The reason why? Do I like to look at a beautiful woman, a beautiful body? Sure. But if that's all she brings, I don't give a fuck. That's all she brought. She talks incoherently, mumbles her way through a couple of lines here, and then she twerks. We get it. That's your stick, I guess. I guess when she's on stage, she does that. It's just annoying. It's just like, why were you there? Why were you there? I asked that question. Now, main event. All Ego Ethan Page is in NXT, and he gets an NXT Championship match in his first match, his debut match in NXT. Now, the way they booked this, it makes sense to make his first match a title match. We saw what happened. We saw what he did. He interacted with, all these guys like Oba, like Oba, what's his name, but that guy, who was that? But he interacted with all these guys. Right now, my mind's a blur, so I can't remember their name. I know who they are, but I just can't bring it up right now. But he's doing all that. He put Ava in a position where she had no choice but to sign him, and he gets this match. And I say it makes sense because he ain't someone like Mercedes, who is a highly sought after free agent. Not saying that he isn't, but she was being talked about. Everybody knew she was coming to AEW. And then they book her in a title match, her first match. We knew that she was going to win. There was no doubt. This one actually was like, maybe he's going to win. Maybe he's not. So we weren't really expecting him. I mean, he can afford a loss in his debut. Like I said, Mercedes is a high-profile signee. She signed to AEW, so she can't afford to lose. There's just too much behind her, too much that they invested in her. And to me, it just won't affect Ethan Page not one bit if he loses. And then as the bell rings, Ethan Page starts off hot. And he gets the champ reeling, but Trick puts that aggression on all ego, and that's what Trick needs to do. But outside, Paige puts the beat down on Trick and whips him through steel steps and took out a security guard as well. I'm like, shit, man. And I've been a fan of Paige, even in AEW, even though he was sorely underused. He deserved better, and he deserved better. And here in WWE via NXT, win or lose, he's off to a great start. I mean, he was a free agent, now a main eventer, and possibly a champ in quick fashion. I mean, when did he debut? Not too long ago, and here he is in a main event spot. But you blink and you'll miss it as Trick hits that high knee upside Ethan Page's head. And now this was after Ethan Page hit that razor's edge, kind of like that fine razor's edge that that he does, and he does it pretty well. But despite that, he gets knocked out for a 3 count. And Trick successfully defends his championship. And that assures us that the Whoop That era will continue. And then he was joined by that waste of space Sexy Red. And I thought she was going to twerk again, because every segment was mumble incoherently and then twerk. I mean, how much did WWE pay her? Because honestly, even $1 would be too much. Because like I said, she could have added something. I mean, I'm not a fan of Snoops anymore. I used to be. But it's like, at least a Snoop adds stuff to it. At least when he hosts, when he makes appearances, they're entertaining, right? At least he does something. He switches it up. Her is just like, okay, what do you do best? They're Sexy Red. I rap. Okay. What else do you do? I twerk. Okay. Just why don't you put those together? I don't know. Why don't you just do that? I guess you can say you can give it to the WWE. I guess they worked with her strengths. So there's giving them that, right? I guess. Like I said, I hate when I watch WWE programming and something like that, and it's good, very entertaining, but then there's always that one thing that brings it down. For me, like as always, when it comes to NXT programming, it's Booker T. And fuck you, Booker, because me imitating you, my fucking throat hurts now. So I'm wondering, does that happen to him? But then again, that's how he sounds. That's how he naturally talks. So I guess it don't bother him. But fuck, man, my throat hurts. But him and then her, like, why did you need a guest host? Or a host. She didn't do nothing as a host. Backstage segment. She welcomes everybody to NXT Battleground in the beginning. And then 4 segments. All she did was mumble incoherently, like I said, and twerk. That's all she did. Man, her shows must be entertaining. That's all she does. Right? That all she does? It's a waste. Waste of time, waste of space, waste of my time. Because I had to sit through that. Man, but anyway, I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the matches. I enjoyed what they're doing. But like I said, there's certain things that took me out. Booker T and Sexy Red. Like, I just wish they didn't exist when it comes to, NXT. I wish Booker T would just step down and go away. And Sexy Red, they don't need to hire her anymore. If Shawn Michaels and these guys are smart, and I know they are, they'll look at this and go, you know what, we're not going to bring her back on again. All that girl did was talk. We couldn't understand what the hell she said. And then she, mumbling her way through it. And then she does a twerking. It's almost like that can be sexy. But when you see it in overabundance, you get sick of it. That's all she did. Yes, I know, I'm continuing to talk about it. But that's just so annoying. Who cares? Oh, you can twerk. Man, dime a dozen. I see that on TikTok all the time. Be different. That's all you do? Twerk? That's it? Oh, I don't know what else to do. Okay, let me go back on. Let me go down and twerk. Oh, I'm talking. Oh, I forgot my line. Okay, let me go down and twerk. It's almost like that's what's her go-to if she fucks up or she forgets something. You know, I'll just twerk until something pops up in my head again. You know, like I said, I'll give NXT Battleground, but Las Vegas, I'll give it, you know, high praise. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Quick and short and to the point. It's not 5 hours or 6 hours long. You know, 6 matches, 5 title matches. Could have been worse, but it wasn't. No, I enjoyed it. What more can I say? But anyway, that is my rundown, review, my thoughts on NXT Battleground in Las Vegas. Like I said, it's a very good pay-per-view, or PLE I should say. And we'll see if I will add NXT to my channel, to my, you know, my review and thoughts and all that stuff, to see if I'll do a video on it. I don't know, because it does look interesting, stuff that's coming up in NXT. But we'll see. If you guys don't see it, it's going to be just business as usual with Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite and, you know, pay-per-views and all that, PLEs. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And until next time, take care. And I will see you in my next video.